honey. Tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Eastern
on NBA TV.
The last time the Denver Nuggets reached the finals was back in 1976. The final season of the ABA, led by Hall of Famers David Thompson, Dan Issel, and Bobby Jones. That team lost to Dr. J and the New York Nets in the last ABA championship series ever played. And despite winning 50 games 9 times in their 42 NBA seasons, the Nuggets have never, ever played for an NBA championship. Michael Malone's club flirted with the #1 seed for much of the season before falling to #2 in the West this year. They have, one of the league's top big men in Nikola Jokic, a really deep and solid core of role players around Jokic. So 3D and Zeke, let's go to question number 10 here. Why will or why won't the Nuggets reach the NBA Finals?
The only thing there's two things. A, the Golden State Warriors, and B, I look at, do they have the main go-to guy, even though they have a MVP candidate in the Joker. They don't really have that guy that you can give the ball to night in and night out and say, I need a basket right now. And I don't know if Millsap will be that guy in the playoffs. Even though he's a great scorer, I don't know if he's the guy that you can say, like you can throw it to a Durant, like you can throw it to an Aldridge, like you can throw it to a Steph Curry or a Clay or a Harden. I don't know if Millsap has gotten to that level where you can say, get me a basket, and the officials will respect him and give him the foul call at the end of the game like they will the other.
Well, speaking of the officials, Jokic's temper cost him a couple of games late in the season.
No, he has to be under control. And Millsap was that guy they signed 2 years ago to be the veteran, to your point, Isaiah, to get him over the hump. But I'm going to go a semi against the grain from the standpoint of, remember 5 years ago, no one really believed the Warriors were going to be winning a championship, being jump shooters, right? Well, Jamal Murray, here's your opportunity to break out and to prove everybody everything you've shown us the last 2 years of shooting the basketball. And Mike Malone said, you're not a traditional point guard. You're a guard that can play. We're going to play through the Joker. So the Joker, can you be an MVP type candidate all playoffs? And Murray, shoot the basketball like everyone believes you can shoot the ball. And the coach has given you the green light and saying, why are you passing up shots? Right. So if he can shoot the basketball, to answer your question, Jared, maybe he can be that guy to say, you know what, Steph Curry, I'm ready to go mano a mano with you, shooting the ball to help my team advance. It has to happen that way, Isaiah.
There have been plenty of times.
Wait a minute, hold on. Did you say mano a mano against Steph?
Just like you said.
I'm just saying.
Just like you said, Steph gonna be dunking. I'm saying Murray just has to shoot the basketball at a high clip. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right.
There have been plenty of times. There have been plenty of times this season when Jokic has been taken out of games late in game for defensive purposes. There was a game recently where DeMarcus Cousins really took it to Jokic. As good as Jokic is at everything on the offensive end, does his defense, which at times has been pretty decent this year, could that come back to haunt the Nuggets?
You know, when you talk about the Cousins-Jokic matchup, you know, Cousins is a traditional center that can also move out to the perimeter with great skills. But his inside game is just as good as his perimeter game. And most bigs right now aren't used to defending in the post. They don't know how to defend in the post. So Cousins definitely gives, Jokic some problems inside the paint. But I think when he's playing against most perimeter centers or most inside bigs, he does all right.
I think Steve Kerr will definitely, if that matchup happens, will definitely bring away from the basket. And I think Cuz has shown us now his passing is still one of the best passing big guys in our league. So as the playoffs go, I look for Cuz to be somewhere around 6 or 7, 8 assists every night because they share the basketball.
Let's not look beyond the first round. Greg Popovich is going to look to make it very difficult for Jokic on that end of the court. Now, if the Warriors, as you both predicted at the top of the show, win their 4th title in 5 years, is this now, Dennis, the greatest run in NBA history?
The greatest run in NBA history, probably in modern history, yes. I'm going back to the 60s with the Celtics and all that, you'd have to say that. But what I've been telling people, let's not crown it yet. They're still playing. They're still young. They're going to get a new contract. This thing could keep going, Isaiah.
Oh,
that's what excites me.
That's great.
And all this talk, and I'm going to go ahead and say it again. If they win, everyone thinks Cousins is going to leave. I think differently, and that's what makes this thing even more interesting, that you win a championship and everyone thinks Cuz is going to run for the big money. I'm hearing different things that Cuz would want to stay and continue to win.
And if they win and they manage to keep Durant, I mean that.
Come on, man.
I mean now really you're talking about history.
Now we're talking about
Now,
some real history.
if Durant stays and they keep the Splash Brothers together and these guys continue to play at the level that they're playing at, you're looking at the modern day Boston Celtics in terms of what they had with Bill Russell, Casey Jones, Havlicek, so forth and so on. I mean, this is unprecedented. You know, we're going into, new territory with a team.
Right.
If they're able to keep Durant, this is history.
Let's get into the Bulls. You were playing when the Bulls were first starting. You were playing when the Bulls were wrapping it up. 6-8 for them. Is that better than 4-5?
Well, let me help you out. We beat him after the first three to kind of send home. Let me kind of on the way out, he came back and kind of retooled and got it going again. But the difference is you have three guys offensively. Chicago was a defensive juggernaut where they locked you down and you weren't getting more than 80 points some games, sometimes 75. Yeah. I think that's the biggest difference, Jared. This Warriors team, they might get 150 on you, 160 on you any given night. That's the glaring difference of those two teams.
And they fit so well together. I mean, when you talk about Durant, you talk about Steph, when you talk about Clay, really these three, their skill sets definitely complement each other. And the reason why they complement each other is because Durant really is a point guard. I mean, he brings the ball, he advances it, he shares it, he moves it out top. And Steph and Clay, they're running off screens as shooting guards, knocking down shots. So, when you talk about their skill sets, I don't know if there's a big three skill set wise that's ever complemented each other the way these three do out on the offensive side on the floor. I mean, they really like hand in glove.
Flashback to last year's playoffs. During Boston's deep run to the Eastern Conference Finals, Brad Stevens received a whole lot of praise for what he was able to do guiding the Celtics. Fast forward to this year, which coach are you putting on your bench, Isaiah, to make the right decision at the end of a tight game?
Well, I mean, when you look at the playoffs, I mean, the guy that you would have to go with is Greg Popovich. And the reason why you go with Pop is because he has the most experience. He's been around the longest, but he's also Hall of Fame coach, has won, knows how to pick apart player tendencies, understands the emotional part of the game as well as the analytical part of the game in terms of statistics. So he's able to find and tweak and push the right button at the right time. So if there's somebody at the end of the game that you want to drop an offensive play, he can go a European play, he can go an international play, he can go a play.
I think, by the way, I think
1960.
European and international is the same, I think.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right.
I just
Okay.
think.
Okay. All right. He can give you a South American play.
Which is also an international play.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, one of them plays.
Yeah.
Okay. He can give you a play outside the United States.
Right.
To hell with you, Jerry. Go ahead. Talk to 3D. Anyway, my man is Popovich. All right.
I'm going with Doc Rivers. With the way
Can
Doc
you call it international play?
Listen to me. Doc is still one of the best in our game of getting the best for less. And what we've seen the last 2 years, like we talked about earlier in the show, when they started winning and after that trade, you're like, what are you doing, Doc? Well, he's found guys like Montrezl Harrell, guys like that are going to play hard every night. And sweet Lou Williams off the bench has proven once again he can carry you for a fourth quarter and win a few ball games for you. So Doc Rivers will be my guy too, late game situation. I need a bucket. Doc's going to draw up the right play.
As I mentioned last year, the golden boy was Brad Stevens. Where is he this year?
Well, he's had a tough season. And again, he and the Celtics, the expectations were that they were supposed to be the number one seed coming out of the East. And by all accounts, you have to look at all of them and say they failed in the regular season. Now, can they make up for it in the postseason? You know, that's yet to be seen. But, you know, he's definitely failed a couple of notches.
It's going to be interesting now, Isaiah, because now not having one of his favorite guys, you know how much he loves Marcus Smart. So with that oblique injury, depending on how far he's out, so now he can concentrate on what he has, knowing that he doesn't have his number one junkyard dog.
Coming up next, who's going to suck the gravity right out of the building in this year's playoffs? Reedy and Zeke are back to weigh in next on NBA TV.
And it's not an international player.